In the world of modern media, few clashes capture attention quite like a verbal duel broadcast live on air. When Ashley confronted Piers Morgan during a heated exchange about Prince Harry, millions watched as the tone of the discussion shifted from Morgan's familiar attacks to Ashley's eloquent defence of the Duke of Sussex. What unfolded was more than just a television spat. It became a defining moment that reignited the conversation about Prince Harry's decision to step away from royal duties, the relentless media scrutiny that haunted him and Meghan, and the enduring influence of Diana's youngest son. Ashley's words carried the weight of truth and authenticity, slicing through Morgan's relentless criticism like a sword cutting through thick fog. Her defence of Harry was not only powerful, it was historic. For once, someone pushed back against one of Britain's loudest media personalities, and did so live without hesitation in front of an audience hungry for both drama and justice. And at the centre of it all stood Prince Harry, a man vilified by tabloids, condemned by certain establishment voices, and yet still admired worldwide for his courage, vulnerability, and humanity. The confrontation began when Morgan, in his signature mocking tone, dismissed Harry's return to public life. "Oh, isn't it wonderful that Harry's back?" Morgan sneered. "The most intrusive person into royal privacy ever has been Prince Harry, with his book, with his Netflix series." This was not unusual for Morgan. He has, for years, fashioned himself as a crusader against Harry and Meghan, painting them as hypocrites who fled the monarchy for privacy only to sell their stories to the highest bidder. But what Morgan failed to anticipate was the sharpness of Ashley's response. Ashley replied with calm authority, but her words carried a thunderous impact. "So, Prince Harry stepped back because he felt like there was relentless media intrusion, your mouth being one of those mouthpieces, and was. And he did his best to protect his family, to protect Meghan. He was very open, asking people to stop criticising her, and he felt that it was damaging his family's well-being. I think Prince Harry is an amazing asset to the royal family." Those words stunned the studio. For once, Morgan found himself on the defensive. Ashley had flipped the narrative. Instead of Harry being painted as a betrayer of royal tradition, he was presented as a husband, a father, and a protector. Instead of Meghan being vilified, she was acknowledged as a woman worthy of respect and support. And instead of Morgan's endless criticism shaping the discourse, Ashley seized control of the moment. Ashley's intervention resonated because it addressed the heart of the matter. Harry's decision to step back was not about money or attention, but survival. For years, he watched history repeat itself. The woman he loved, his wife, was subjected to the same brutal scrutiny that destroyed his mother, Princess Diana. Ashley reminded viewers that Harry had begged the media to ease up, to give Meghan space to breathe. When his pleas fell on deaf ears, he made a choice that many fathers and husbands would understand. He put his family first. Ashley's words did not just defend Harry, they humanized him. They painted him not as a royal caricature, but as a man trying to shield his wife and children from a storm he knew all too well. And in doing so, Ashley exposed the cruelty of Morgan's narrative. Piers Morgan's obsession with Harry and Meghan has become something of a cultural phenomenon. Since Meghan first entered the royal scene, Morgan has hurled endless criticism, accusing the couple of hypocrisy, betrayal, and even disloyalty to the late Queen. To Morgan, Harry is the prodigal son who turned his back on tradition. To Ashley, and millions around the world, Harry is the man who refused to sacrifice his family's peace for an institution unwilling to protect them. Morgan's words on that night were predictable, sneering, dismissive, and dripping with irony. He accused Harry of invading his own privacy, pointing to the Duke's memoir Spare and the Netflix documentary as evidence. But what Morgan ignored, and what Ashley pointed out, was that telling one's own story is vastly different from being hounded by paparazzi, stalked by tabloids, and vilified by the press. Harry chose to share his truth on his own terms. The media, by contrast, forced its narrative onto him without consent. That was Ashley's point, and it landed with devastating precision. What made Ashley's rebuttal so effective was its clarity. She didn't match Morgan's sarcasm with sarcasm. She didn't attempt to outshout him. Instead, she presented facts with empathy. Harry stepped back because the media intrusion was unbearable. Morgan was one of those fueling the frenzy. Harry acted to protect Meghan and his family, And despite stepping back, Harry remains an asset. These points dismantled Morgan's attack line by line. More importantly, Ashley did what few on television dare to do. She held Morgan accountable to his face. As clips of the exchange circulated online, hashtags began trending. #AshLeavesMorgan, #ProtectHarry, #CreditToAshley. Social media erupted with praise for Ashley's composure and courage. Viewers around the world hailed her as the woman who finally silenced Piers Morgan on live television. Some even compared her intervention to moments in history where ordinary people stood up against powerful voices and won. Memes flooded Twitter and TikTok. One viral post featured Ashley's quote superimposed over a photo of Diana with the caption, "Protecting Meghan, protecting family, protecting legacy." Another read, "Ashley did in 5 sentences what Harry's critics failed to do in 5 years. Tell the truth." At the heart of this story is Prince Harry himself. For decades, he has been defined by tragedy, expectation, and controversy. But moments like this remind the world why he matters. Harry is not just Diana's son. He is the man who refused to watch history destroy the woman he loves. He is the man who broke tradition in order to build a safer future for his children. And despite Morgan's endless attempts to tear him down, Harry continues to command respect and admiration worldwide. Ashley's words protected Harry not only in that studio, but across the globe. They reframed the debate. Harry is not the problem. Relentless media intrusion is. Within hours of the broadcast, major outlets covered the clash. Headlines read, "Ashley shuts down Piers Morgan in live debate over Prince Harry. Defender of Sussex's leaves Morgan speechless on air. Ashley protects Harry. He did his best to protect Meghan." Even outlets that had previously been critical of Harry admitted that Ashley's intervention was powerful. It became impossible to ignore the humanity at the core of Harry's story. This clash did more than embarrass Piers Morgan. It reopened a larger conversation about the role of the press, the responsibilities of the monarchy, and the enduring pain of media intrusion. If Diana's death taught the world anything, it was the cost of unrestrained press attention. Harry lived through that trauma as a child. Now, as a father, he refused to let it happen again. Ashley's words reminded the world of that truth. They weren't just a defense of Harry. They were a call for compassion, accountability, and change. In the annals of live television, certain moments stand out. Moments where truth prevails over noise, where courage silences cruelty, where compassion exposes cynicism. Ashley's confrontation with Piers Morgan was one of those moments. Her words were simple, but they carried the force of justice. She reminded the world that Harry is not a villain, but a man fighting to protect his family. She reminded viewers that Morgan's relentless attacks are not journalism, but obsession. And most importantly, she gave voice to millions who have long believed that Harry deserves better. So, credit to Ashley. She did what few have dared. She destroyed Piers Morgan live on air, not with insults, not with volume, but with truth. And in doing so, she protected Prince Harry, his family, and his legacy. To all my curious Sussex family, thank you all for watching, and do not forget to subscribe, like and put a comment. Bye-bye, see you in our next episode.